Hello and welcome or welcome back. My name is marymarino, and here on this channel I like to talk about my passion for fashion. As per usual, today is no different. However, we're trying something new today. I've got a dirty little secret. Lately, when I fall asleep, you know how there are some girls who watch true crime to fall asleep? Well, this girl watches gossip channels to fall asleep. I could say it's probably just my guilty pleasure. I like to watch gossip channels like this one and like this one. I find them very enjoyable. But it got me thinking, I'm not ever gonna make a gossip video. That's not my forte. But in these gossip videos, what the people talk about is gossip from almost the beginning of time to current. And what were the scandals that these specific rock stars and mostly Disney Channel stars were going through? And how did it affect them then and currently? Why can't I do that but with their fashion? So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to break down and create an entire synopsis of Miley Cyrus's 4 fashion eras. Yeah, that's right. Miley Cyrus is a badass bee. And if you're anything like me, you've been watching her since the days of Hannah Montana. We're actually going to go through her entire fashion lifetime. Well, maybe not the entire thing, but from the Hannah Montana days till current. Era number 1 will come at no surprise to the true fans. It's Miley Cyrus's Disney era. In Miley Cyrus's Disney era, you can see a lot of color, a lot of layering. Dare I say that this era is very juvenile. I kind of want to say that Miley Cyrus is dressing for the man being the corporation Disney, because was this actually a true part of her fashion identity, or did she just have a stylist? I don't know, it looks like a lot of fun. We've got a lot of fun colors, a lot of fun silhouettes, a lot of fun layering, but at the end of the day, I think that this overall look is a little bit juvenile and a bit 2010. Hannah Montana aired its first episode in 2006 and had its last episode in 2011, so it's really safe to say that Miley Cyrus's fashion during this time was very 2010 coded. Between each of the 4 eras, we kind of have some transitional, like micro eras where we can kind of start to see the fading of the previous era and the entrance of the new era. These 2 outfits, I think, perfectly combined the first Disney era of Miley Cyrus with the second era of Miley Cyrus, the Liam Hemsworth era. In the Liam Hemsworth era, we really see a lot of old Hollywood glam. And if the first era was Miley Cyrus dressing for the man, meaning the Disney Corporation, then her second era is definitely dressing for a man, Liam Hemsworth. You can see in a lot of her photos that she just simply doesn't look that happy. She definitely doesn't look like she's wearing the things that she wants to wear. And objectively, these are beautiful outfits. They're old Hollywood glam with simple, soft silhouettes in neutral color palette, which is a lot different than the first era because this one's a lot more mature. Nothing looks better on a human than the confidence that they radiate when they're happy or confident in the outfit that they're wearing. I simply don't see that in Miley Cyrus's second era because it looks like all these outfits were for Liam. We start to see some transition outfits between era number 2 and era number 3. And this was a controversy of the time. Miley Cyrus would always kind of poke fun and try to get real flirty and silly with Liam Hemsworth on the red carpet, and he simply wasn't having any of it. I remember that she would always try to lick him, or maybe successfully lick him, and he didn't like it. But this is where we start to see a little bit more of Miley kind of coming out of her shell and she starts to do things for herself versus dressing for Liam. We really start to notice the change when she cut her hair and dyed it platinum blonde. I think that this hair change really shocked a lot of us, but in retrospect, it was something that needed to happen. A big change in her appearance and look to kind of break free from that Disney persona once and for all. That brings us to her third era, which is surely one of the most questionable eras, but perhaps one of the most fun eras as well. And that's Miley Cyrus's Bangerz era. Do I really need to say much about this era? Probably not. But you know what this era reminds me of? I feel like in my fashion journey, I had a time in my life where I wanted nothing more than to dress like what I wanted to dress like when I was a child. But I couldn't. Perhaps it was more of a sexy, playful look, which isn't entirely childlike or juvenile. But that's okay. When I say childlike, I mean childlike in some of the campy outfits she was wearing. Like, take a look at this outfit with the tongue and the lips. That's pretty cool. And then also the little onesie with the teddy on the front. And then the actual teddy, I just see a lot of aspects of this era that remind me of a reminiscent time. Perhaps I wanted to dress like this when I was a child. But it's like childcore meets sexy, which is like a dichotomy that I never thought I would see in the universe, but here we are. Pop off, Miley. Why would I even want to look at Miley Cyrus's 4 eras? Well, in the second half of the video, I want to take a look at her 4th era a little bit closer and see if there's anything that I can thrift that is similar to the items in Miley Cyrus's 4th era. Because I've been a little bit bored in my fashion world lately, and I just want to spice it up. I think Miley Cyrus's experimentation over the years has really culminated to bring us her 4th era. I want to call Miley Cyrus's 4th era kind of her final evolution. Dare I say, I am excited to see what she brings us in the future, but I kind of think it will always be within the realm of her final evolution. When I take a look at her final evolution, I see a lot of I wear what I want, which is very reminiscent of the Banger era. I see a lot of very strong, beautiful, sexy silhouettes, which is also really reminiscent of the Banger era. But unlike the Banger era, I feel like this isn't juvenile. This is a very mature, sexy look. And it's wild for me even to say this, but I even see bits and pieces from the Liam Hemsworth era represented in her final evolution, because I see a lot of blacks and a lot of nudes and a lot of neutrals. But she doesn't let herself get stuck in the neutrals because she's really wearing whatever the heck she wants to wear in this era. For example, this kimono is freaking gorgeous, and the color is a beautiful bright pink. It really reminds me of her Disney era. I think in her final form, it's safe to say that she's really just wearing whatever she wants in a mature, settled in, sophisticated rock star way. And that brings me to one of my main points is I really wanted to dress like a rock star. And I thought, well, I could make a list of rock stars that I could dress like. The list kind of began and ended with Miley Cyrus. There's definitely more people that I could dress like. Like, I think it would be really fun to dress like Fleetwood Mac for sure. Comment below if you'd like to see that video, because that's something I would really like to make as well. First, we gotta focus on what aspects of Miley Cyrus's final evolution do I personally like, and do I see bringing some of these final aspects into my wardrobe? because you know I could look for a lot of these items at the thrift store. Speaking of the kimono top, I think that I could take my kimono and make kind of like a wrap kimono top. So I don't even need to go thrifting for that item because I already own it. I just need to break out the sewing machine. I also find myself being really drawn to a lot of the silhouettes in Miley Cyrus's final evolution, like this top. I actually think it's probably a dress, but it really stands out to me because when I think of all of the categories in my clothing, like pants and dresses and tops and hats, the one that I'm least excited about with my current wardrobe collection is my tops. I don't find myself reaching for a lot of them. I find myself wearing them because you socially have to wear them to cover up, you know, your stuff. It would be really cool to take inspiration from Miley Cyrus's wardrobe and get some more structurally intricate and very visually interesting tops in my wardrobe. Now, I know a lot of these are dresses, but I think it'd be really cool to maybe thrift a more structurally interesting leather top like this dress. And I think it'd be interesting to thrift a more structurally exciting top. I think this is a dress, but maybe it's a matching top and bottom, but like this matching set with the very voluminous fur-lined sleeves. I think that's super cool. And I also find myself being really drawn to a lot of the sheer outfits Miley Cyrus is wearing. But I do have to stop and pause on that one for a moment because it kind of makes me question whether or not I simply like other people in sheer outfits or if it's something I can find myself actually wearing in my wardrobe. So I'd like to keep a lookout for more sheer options at the thrift store because I think they would be really fun to attempt to style. If you've seen a lot of my videos, there are kind of three main categories that my fashion falls into. We've got gorpcore, we've got boho or boho chic, and kind of more of an uptown girl look. It's kind of hard to look at Miley Cyrus's more like rock star-esque fashion and see where that would fit into my wardrobe. But when I look at this and I think I want to make a wardrobe change and I'm going to use this as my inspiration, this is kind of how I see it fitting together. I think boho or boho chic is very 70s rock star or Fleetwood Mac-esque, and I think that Miley Cyrus's current fashion philosophy is very rock star. So I think that's exactly where it inserts itself into my fashion journey, is I think that I can take a lot of rock star pieces and work them in with the pieces that I already have for my boho category. You see what I'm saying? You can do the same if you ever want to spice up your wardrobe, is you can pick something that is maybe not exactly like one of the pillars of your fashion currently, but maybe it's like it, but just like a little bit different. Because then not only will it probably fit into your fashion wardrobe and your life seamlessly, but you won't be having to go out and buy a bunch of different pieces for a wardrobe that is entirely different. Like you won't have to get rid of your entire wardrobe and get a new one because the aesthetic that you decided to incorporate into your wardrobe is entirely different. Today we broke down Miley Cyrus's 4 fashion eras. We talked about her Disney era, her Liam Hemsworth era, her Bangerz era, and her final evolution rock star era. We also broke down some of the aspects of Miley Cyrus's 4th and final evolution that I can kind of bring into my wardrobe so that I can pair them with things that I already own, and broke down a list of some very specific items that I want to look for at the thrift store. So I hope this inspires you to maybe take a look at somebody that you admire in your life and see how you can take some of the inspiration from that and bring it into your wardrobe with the current items of clothing that you already own. Because if you're getting bored, then spice it up. At any rate, that's all that I've got for you today. I'll see you next time. Love you lots. Bye.